It is time for our weekly segment with Midway football coach Joe Gillespie. Midway on the year now with 2 games to go, including home against Bryant on Friday at Panther Stadium, and then on the road Thursday of next week to close out the regular season district schedule against Copperas Cove. And the Panthers take care of business. A weird night down in Killeen because an early start, the weather, they got it in and dominate the game. Let's start with that. Then I want to get obviously into this week as well. A strange night because you start off blowing you 14-0. Killeen, I even said this to their coach, to Coach Sadler. I mean, 0-8 or 0-7, whatever they were, and then they 0-8, and then they're down 14, but they did not give up. Pushed you a lot into the second quarter, into the halftime as well. But overall, how did you feel like your team handled early kickoff or not? You have to do that maybe during the playoffs, but how did you feel like you handled the week?
I thought our kids, I thought our coaches, everybody handled it really well. It was something that we were very transparent about throughout the course of the week. And early on in the week, on Monday, Tuesday, I mean, the weather's going to change 10 times between then and Friday. And but we started putting the bug in their ear that, embrace change, and there might be some sudden change that happens. And that happens in the course of football, sudden change. And so, whatever it is, the team, the young men that embrace this the quickest and really welcome it more than sit there and go, oh man, I wish we weren't doing this. Those are the ones that are good, more times than not are going to succeed from it. So we were very transparent about it. I thought our team went out and did a great job. To start off the game, we deferred and win was a factor. And so fortunately we were able to win the toss. And then, went out 1, 2, 3. They had to punt into the win or punt with the win rather. And it was a shanked punt, and we get the ball in good field position. Our offense goes out the cap on it. We do it again. The second series, about the same verse, just second story. But anyway, and then they fought back, they sat there. Quarterback kind of came to life. He's a little bit of an elusive guy and can run the ball well. They converted a 3rd and long. They converted a 4th down, and then they ended up, it was a 12-play drive or something like that. And they ended up capping on it. Now all of a sudden you're back in a ball game. And then second quarter, we just really kind of made some bonehead mistakes, on both sides of the ball. We were defensively, we weren't playing well. Offensively, we had our backs up against the goal line. We were playing the field position battle and struggling to get a first down to get ourselves out of it. Go in at half ahead, 28-20. We get the ball first, second half, we go down and score. And we go out and go 1, 2, 3 on defense, make them punt. We go down and score again. And so, I thought the second half to battle back and, we started off hot, didn't play very well in the second quarter. And then in the second half, I thought we played our style of ball.
So now you go into this game with another team that has struggled as far as record. Bryant, they're 0-8. Lost to Temple, but another team that scratched and clawed, and the down numbers, but their statistics, you look at that, you can't. With Ricky Tullis, who has a really nice resume, won a state title at George Ranch, he's been around. So how do you tell your players you don't look at the record, because these guys, they are very gritty?
Well, I think one thing is kind of the way we went out and played in the second quarter. We know right now Ricky does a great job, and he's going to have his kids ready, just like Josh Sadler had his kids ready at Killeen. And they've got talent. And they took Temple to the wire. I know the score really isn't indicative of what the game was with Temple, and they've been in some games and some tight games. And so, those kids are going to come out and they're going to play. This is probably one of their last home games that they're going to have. And so, and then this is something that, hey, we've secured a playoff berth. We need to sit there and roll with some momentum. We've got this game. We've got another game in Cove that really humbled us last year going into the playoffs. And we're going to have to go to their place, but we got to take care of business here first. And it's an opportunity. We've been talking about this for the course of the season. you get to games 7, 8, 9, that really becomes what your team is and who you are and your identity. And we want that identity to be really sharp right now. And so we're going to have to really screw down some loose bolts and make sure that we got everything. We're firing on all pistons.
Okay. So it appears, if you were to look at the standings because of who you've beaten, the loss was to Harker Heights. It appears as if you're in, but you're not technically in yet.
Not 100%.
Now, mathematically, because of who else has to play, who else other teams are going to lose, it might give you that. But you're really not specifically in yet, are you? The playoffs?
Not exactly. And that you would like to sit there and think that, hey, we obviously needed to go take care of business against Killeen. And had we beaten Harker, we would be 100% in. There's no way. And so it's a big game. We got to go on the road. We're playing at home. We'll have to go on the road the next week. So our next two opponents are going to be huge, and it's going to have playoff implications. It's going to have seeding implications. And, we want to get in the playoffs, and certainly we want to be the number 1 seed.
All right. So, you've had to battle, and we've discussed this many times, but I think it needs to be brought up how many different players you've had that have been out. And my God, Hudson King was out since the opening game when he had that, I think it was a clavicle or his collarbone.
Yep.
He fights back. He's a good-looking specimen as far as a player. Long and angular but strong, and he gets involved in some plays, and now he's out again because of an injury. That's got to break your heart because he's also what seems to be, if you wanted to have like a lot of your players, but if you wanted somebody to be like, this is Midway football, Hudson King would be one of those names. No doubt.
And Hudson is a phenomenal young man, extremely intelligent, very, very good academically. Very strong in his faith. His mom and dad have done a wonderful job with him. He's going to be a successful human being. He's going to be a successful husband, father, professional at whatever it is he does. He's going to be extremely involved in his church and a great community member and productive member. And but this is a young man that you sit there and you say, hey, this is the epitome of what Midway football you want it to be. And from a leadership standpoint, an academic standpoint, a faith standpoint, and then just hard work ethic. This is a tough kid, maybe the toughest kid we got on the team. And, unfortunately, we had the injury, first game of the season. He actually did it in the first quarter, and he played for another 2.5 quarters with it. And then the other night, I'm fortunate to sit there and have another season in an injury, but, I got to visit with him and his folks and this is a season of life, and football doesn't identify who we are. It's a big part of who we are and what we do, but it's just season of life, and we're going to get through this. And thankfully he's a strong young man with great parents.
Have you ever, and you've coached a long time, I mean, you have a phenomenal record with what you did at Stephenville, and then, of course, now here, and then in college at Tulsa, TCU, a team that has had to go through so many, it seemed like each week. You mentioned to me a long time ago, I don't think you've ever had a game since you arrived, since game 1, and maybe then last year you had guys that were out that week where you've always had, and I know football's a war of attrition. I know it's a physical game, but it seemed like it has been something you've had to deal with for the last couple of years.
It has. And, unfortunately, we were sitting there, even my very first game here, Drew Armstead. I mean, we went out to a walkthrough the day before our first game, and he and I walked together across the parking lot from Panthers Stadium back to the locker room, talking about the game plan and stuff. And then that afternoon, his foot started swelling up and his ankle and all this stuff in class. And then it got to where he couldn't walk on it. And, he's a guy that came back 2-3 weeks later and played for about 2 or 3 ball games, really helped us win some games. And then he had to have a procedure, that was kind of season ending for him. And so it's just kind of been one of those things. It's a little bit head scratching, and you would like to go out. I would like to go out one time and play with all the toys and see how good we can be. But I tell you, the biggest thing now is this is just kind of life. And We've had kids step up, kids get opportunities. They've seized the moment. They've taken advantage of the opportunity, and we're going to have to continue to do that. We got 8 more quarters left of regular season, and we're going to have to continue to do that. We're going to keep our fingers crossed if we can stay healthy.
I get conflicting information sometimes on the stats for Brian, but they haven't put up a lot of stats either.
Yeah.
But they have a running back in Javelin Wade, who last year got you like right off the top. Last year was McNair's first start, if I remember. We'll get to that too. But he can go. I mean, he can go. You give him an opening, he can go.
He can scoot.
But they haven't put up a lot of numbers. They got a quarterback that was a private school at Brazos Christian last year. It's pretty decent, good. But so that brings me to Andrew McNair. And I know there's certain players we bring up each week. Well, we could bring up Lathan Wissington the entire show, and others. But that was his first start because unfortunately Pullen got hurt in that game at home. And then you go to Brian and you don't know. I mean, you guys still had some work to do. And first of all, we got to also get to Bustamante at some point with his kickoffs and how Brian couldn't field it. But that was Andrew's first start, and you told me his nickname was Sunshine, and he had a long run. That was when you had an idea that was probably your future quarterback, right?
Absolutely. You know, we knew coming in, and Andrew was, when we first got here, we didn't know what he was, but we did know that he was a football player and that he was an athlete. It was just trying to figure out where does he help us win the most, and also, you know, what fits him the best personally. And you know, there was talk about quarterback and how he's taken snaps in the past. He's a really good receiver. He's gone out and he's played linebacker. I've even talked to Andrew, you know, recently about, you know, playing at the next level. And are you open to other positions? Are you open to either side of the ball? Some of the very best, when I was at the collegiate level, some of the very best linebackers, and I coached linebackers that I ever coached were quarterbacks in high school.
Isn't that right?
And
is that because of instincts and knowing the game, or just toughness? Or
I think there's a lot of things. You know, the very best one that I coached was a young man named Zaven Collins, and he was a quarterback out of Hominy, Oklahoma, just a blinking light town. And he was a number 1 draft pick, or not number 1. He went in the first round. He's number 16 overall, still plays for the Arizona Cardinals. And, but he was with me there at Tulsa, and he was a quarterback in high school. And I think what helped him was that he did. I mean, he was used to quarterbacking things. He was used to, you know, having to lead. And so he could make all the checks, and then he just understood the game of football. And so I think that plays a big role in it. I think Andrew is kind of in that same category. I don't know that he's going to be a first round draft pick, but I think he's one of those guys that needs to be a little bit open to some things. He's going to have an opportunity to play quarterback at the next level. I also think he's going to have an opportunity to do some other things as well.
Was he okay Friday? It seemed like he got up like he had gotten hit in the chest or lost some breath. He's fine. He played well, but seemed like he was a little bit not off, but I just saw that body language was not somebody that was like he wasn't quite. Is he okay?
He's okay. I'm going to tell you, I kind of wondered the same thing. And I think I know what you're talking about. And I'm not 100. It was in the second half, and there was a late hit on him, and he got smoked pretty good. I mean, he did. And but it was certainly a late hit, and it was kind of the second one or so. And he's a competitor. I think he was more ticked off than he was hurt. And he started walking off the field towards us, and I thought, "What are you doing? I mean, are you hurt?" And I looked at him, and he was just mad, and he was like, "This guy keeps doing this," and I said, "Well, you got to go," and he said, "Oh, I thought we scored." And
so you had to make sure.
I said, no, it was a big first down and a lot of yards, but we didn't score. And his eyes lit up. And he was like, I got to go back.
Yeah. I'm glad I thought
but I thought the same thing as he was walking off the field.
Abraham Bustamante against Brian, I believe you guys had 3, 4, maybe more pooch kicks, onside kicks that were pooched, more pooch kicks. But they didn't read them very well.
No.
And I don't remember it being windy down in Bryan. Now, it was on Friday against Killeen.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's almost like he's hitting a golf ball with a lob wedge, and he knows how to place it where teams get confused. The ball hits. You never know what it's going to do.
Yeah.
Is that something he practices a lot?
Absolutely. And, anytime that you got a win like that, and it's pretty windy right now, but when you have a win like that, that is a huge weapon for us. And he knew right away when we flipped ends and we're going into the win, what we're going to be able to start doing now. And he was really looking forward to that. And he did a tremendous job, because I'm going to tell you, I go and I stand somewhat about where I want you to pooch this ball depth wise. And it was about 5 yards behind kind of what we would call the end. And, I was sitting there going, man, I have the perception that this is going to go to the deep guy, and the wind just played favorable. And when it came off the tee, 9 times out of 10, that ball's going to the deep guys.
Right.
And that kid just took off, and then it hung up in the air and dropped straight down. And Lane Alexander comes up with it. We almost came up with 2 others.
Oh, I know.
And
one guy finally he kind of read it better over his shoulder. But yeah, but when it hits the ground, when things are going your well, it goes left, right, backwards. As a kick coverage team, that's a feeding frenzy.
That's a feeding frenzy. And and the kids understand it. And that's something that you practice continuously. We've talked about it before in the past. I mean, we spend 35, 40 to 42 minutes a day just working STs. And so it's nice to get that point in the season where you can sit there and go out, and this is something that's just routine to them.
Well, in the end, 49-26, Bryan, Friday, 7 o'clock is the kickoff, 6:30 pregame. We'll be on 106.7 FM, The Eagle, Midway.tv. They do a great job with that. It also is on the big screen, replays and more. So we appreciate they take our audio as far as the broadcast and put it up on Midway.tv, but also inside the stadium as well. You can smell the finish line. You got work to do.
A lot of work.
But still, thank you very much for your time.
Hey, congratulations, my man. I need everybody to understand Smoky D here. That's our handle for him right now. I'm sure that little grandbaby's going to get to call you whatever you want to be called, or whatever she wants to call you.
Whatever she says she gets, right?
She gets. But congratulations on your first grandchild.
Yeah. Daughter Jennifer Smoke and Daniel, her husband, at 9:26 p.m. on Sunday.
Yeah.
Gracie Lynn Golden is right there in the middle of it. It was an unbelievable experience.
What a blessing.
It really was. And
what a blessing.
I've been told it's like when your daughter gets married, it's one of the most emotional moments you can have. And then, of course, children with Craig and Jennifer, but then a grandbaby, a grandchild.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
That was something else. And Jennifer, the mom, my daughter, she was tough as nails because it was her first pregnancy, obviously.
Sure.
And that last 2 to 3 hours when they start, man,
it's intense.
Men are so lucky.
No doubt. No doubt.
I mean, we have a good life and everything, but we got the right side of a lot of things that Mother Nature and the big guy up in the air.
Yeah.
He knew
who the tougher ones were.
Yeah. No, because most of us would tap out. No, I'm done. I'm done.
I tapped out.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
Thank you, David.
Friday against again, Bryan. Midway on the year is really in a good spot. The 1 loss to Harker Heights, and now we go into week number 10, and then again the game on the road, which will be Thursday at Copper's Cove against the Bulldogs down there with Rodney Southern, his first year as the head coach. This is the weekly Midway Football Podcast. Thanks for your time.